Look at that, Bella. It's just blown the seam off.
The whole end's just come off it, hasn't it?
Wow.
If Dick's hot water tank is not fitted absolutely properly, then it might suffer the same fate as the baked bean can. Not a happy thought.
Man.
Yeah, it's worthwhile investing in a professional installation.
With only half an hour to go before a team of specialist plumbers arrive to fit the wood burner and water tank, other essential utilities are starting to arrive. A very green compost toilet, shower and a combination kitchen sink with a fridge and stove unit that can run off mains power.
What do you reckon? It's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Making the best use of the available space is uppermost in everyone's mind. Positioning the items that need electricity and plumbing close together is the starting point for everything else that follows.
Right.
Okay, let's get a plan over here.
This is what pops kicking in.
The ideal position for the stove is right slap bang in the centre there.
The professor has had plenty of experience in small space design and is anxious to air his views.
Why wouldn't you want that to be on that wall?
And look out the window.
That's even nicer, yeah, you're right.
The problem is, time is running out.
Can I make a different suggestion? If you put that toilet in the way here, you're squeezing round the toilet. Can you take that all the way that way? Design is a discipline of negotiation. You should know this.
Whoa.
But the most important decision of all has yet to be agreed on. The position of the wood-burning stove. Getting this right is vital. It needs to be close to the water tank it will heat, near the sink for convenience, and in the optimum place for its warmth to circulate efficiently.
And from my perspective, we spent all this time insulating the roof, putting in double-glazed windows, making it a nice, cosy space. But the stove has to be the heart of it now, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a real architectural identity to have the stove in the centre of the house. The hearth is the centre of the home, and so you're absolutely right.
Home is where the hearth is.
Move the kitchen along here, put the heater here so it heats the whole area.
The advantage which may come from that is we may be able to put the hot water tank in the bathroom in that space we created.
That's a good idea.
The stove will be positioned here, in the living room. Its pipes will connect through a wall to the water tank here. This in turn will feed hot water to a shower, sink and kitchen unit here. This position should allow maximum warmth to spread around the house. Jem has convinced Dick that paying extra to get the water tank and wood burner safely installed and vented is worth the money.
This is the bathroom. Don't drop that in there, Rich. Cheers, mate. This end.
While the students stockpile fuel they've scavenged from local skips, and the fitters get on with their job, Dick and Jem have the small matter of a huge solar panel to wire up and install. This is a big spend. 6 solar panels, 4 storage batteries and 5 LED strip lights add up to £1,786. Dick needs to make sure that the 6 110-watt panels are wired together in parallel so that they generate a combined output of 660 watts. This power will feed into the large storage batteries under one of the containers, which in turn will power the 12-volt LED lights inside the house.
Wow! Look at your solar panel system.
Done, mate. All the solar panels are linked together as 12 volts.
Yeah.
That's quite a lot of power coming in that.
Yeah.
I think we may need it this time of year. Right. Electricity's going to come down the red and black into the batteries. The battery's going to power the lights.
So light on the outside makes light on the inside?
Yeah, but the beauty is, sunshine during the day makes light at night. You don't have to take any weight at all.
But with the panels bolted to a steel frame, it's now hugely heavy and will need all available people power to get it into position.
Hold on a second, mate. Hold on. You happy with that?
I'll take that. Yeah, it's perfect.
Right, I'll wire it up to the batteries.
Great.
Thank you very much, assistants.
But with the light rapidly fading, Dick and Jem won't know until tomorrow whether or not the panels are working. With the water tank, wood burner and chimney now installed and a wall slotted in between them, it's time to fire her up.
All the way shut?
All the way shut.
It's done.
That's it, walk away, go. I just can't wait for it to be warm in here. How long would that have to burn for to get yourself a tank of hot water?
In the region of about 45 minutes.
So, wow, that is good.
That is very good.
Once you've got it up to temperature, not from cold.
If that's going 45 minutes, then that thermal store gets hot enough that you can just run mains water through and you just get hot water out the taps.
Yes.
Wow.
That's
like
impressive,
that.
isn't it?
As well as being carbon neutral and fuel being cheap or free, modern wood stoves have a secondary burn feature that burn off the gases from the logs, making them highly energy efficient.
I love it as well. You can almost not have a telly if you've got one of them. I do. I think fires are fascinating to watch.
It's the last day. The solar panels are up and slowly trickling electricity into the batteries. But with shorter hours of winter light, it's unlikely that solar energy alone can give the house all the power it needs. Students need computers to work on, and Jem thinks that all that wholesome youthful vigour could power one of his technological favourites.
How do you, mate?
Have you been skateboarding?
I've just been doing my heel flips and 900s.
Well, now you've finished, I probably need one of your wheels.
You are joking, aren't you?
No.
Human power.
Yeah. So the idea is the students pedal the exercise bike.
Yeah.
Then the flywheel on the exercise bike then goes whizzing round. Then I get my motor stroke generator. If I can fit one of your little sticky skateboard wheels on there,
Yeah.
I can push that against that flywheel, which is going to make my motor spin, generate electricity at the end of those wires, which I can then plug into a battery, and off that battery, they can power their laptops. They'll need to pedal this for probably 10 minutes to get half an hour's solidly laptop use.
For every 60 revolutions of the pedals, the bike's flywheel spins 600. In turn, the small wheel connected to the generator will spin 3,000. The electricity generated will be 12 volts DC. This in turn is fed into a battery, and from there to an inverter, which converts the charge into 240 volts of alternating current.
And they only need this if everything else fails.
Yeah, and it's like, it's a last emergency item.
Okay, you can borrow this. Protect it.
Yes, thank you, Dick.
Building a house from scratch out of shipping containers in just 6 days is a huge undertaking. And there's a ton of work still to be done. Dick and Andy are trying to finish the walls and ceilings, now that all the insulation has been fitted.
Good man, let's stick all the way down.
Meanwhile, before Jem gets going on the clever bit of his exercise bike, he needs to build a small table for the laptop to sit on. Every last thing on the house needs input from Dick and Jem, right down to locks needed for doors. The students, meanwhile, get on with something much harder: putting up curtains. Now that Jem has his skateboard wheel, he can connect it to the generator, salvaged from a golf buggy. With the connections made to the battery, he's more or less ready to go.
Is it all together?
That's just about done now.
Inverter's
in.
Yeah, good.
In fact, if you could just monitor my pedalling to check that I'm generating the right amount of power.
Right. You're turning here.
Yeah, then that's turning that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
We should be turning that at the right rate to generate the right amount of volts to charge that battery that will then power this inverter that will then power the computer.
Makes sense. That does make sense. So I can see how much you're doing.
Yeah. If I shut the laptop on here, and just to make it a fair test, Dick, do you want to keep hold of the battery?
You're not... That's confident.
Well, you know.
Good effort. Right, hold on.
Now, I don't want to overcook it, so just only let me go up to a sensible quantity.
Well, 13.3, something like that, yeah?
Yeah, 14 even I'd settle for.
You better start pedaling, mate. You haven't got anywhere near enough there. You're less than 12 volts. Right, you're... Whoa, that's looking good. You got to keep steady on that, because that's about 12 and a half.
Thing is, you get excited and you pop your voltage up.
Can you work like that?
Yeah. It sort of harks back to those days when the women used to, like, press their little treadle for their sewing machines.
If you had this battery in there, this would be charging now, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Good. But if I were you, I'd be saving your work regularly.
Save. Imagine that, losing a whole essay.
As evening approaches and work needs to continue, right on cue, Dick and Jem's solar panels start providing the power for the 12-volt LED lights. The incredible thing about these is that nearly all their energy is converted into light, not heat. In normal incandescent bulbs, it's the other way round. There should be enough electricity stored in the batteries to keep them on till the following morning. With the 3 containers each fully insulated with a different material, 6 double-glazed windows installed, and the wood-burning stove going strong, thermal imaging expert David Farmer is finally called in to measure which insulation material is performing best.
How's it going, David?
Okay.
Yeah, that doesn't look bad at all. That's nice and cool.
Can you see that there?
The infrared camera displays different temperatures as colours, red being the hottest and blue being the coolest. It's immediately clear where the containers are losing heat.
There's an awful lot of heat underneath it. What's that about?
Yes. Well, it appears that we're losing most of the heat actually from beneath the floor.
The floors of the containers are made of polystyrene sandwiched between layers of plywood, and neither material is providing any real insulation at all.
If we were to put down carpets and underlay, that would just stop all the heat coming through. Because you can see the big hot bit in the middle, that's the stove.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
and that's why the floor is so warm there. Okay, and the vertical line there?
Vertical line there is obviously where the seam is.
We didn't put as much insulation there as we should have, I think. But that's okay. That's not very hot. It's just warmer.
Where the containers are joined to each other is also a problem area. The seams are not glowing red, but a cooler green, meaning there is definitely heat loss, but not nearly as bad as the floor. What's also clear is that even with double glazing, plenty of heat is escaping through glass.
Okay. What difference did you find between the containers?
Well, if you actually look across the 3 different sections that you've actually got, they're all looking reasonably the same. There's not a lot of heat loss through the container.
All right, because they're all different types of insulation, but they're all performing. We've got quite a lot in there in the walls.
With a considerable price difference between the 3 insulating materials, buying the cheapest, the eco-wool is a smart move. But if saving space is an issue, then the most expensive, but thinnest, thermal hemp is the answer.
I'm pleased with that, you know. And do you know the other good thing about this? It is so warm because the stove's kicking out masses of heat.
Yes.
Talking of stoves, mate, it's much warmer in there.
Okay.
So with the house having been tested for warmth, the question still remains, can it stand the heat? There are around 40 lightning strikes on the planet each second. A metal house might be considered to be especially vulnerable to a 300 million volt bolt of lightning. Jem feels that the container house may require a radical safety test.
Dick, are you not a little bit concerned about building metal houses when thunderstorms strike?
I think it's going to be hard to sell it as an idea because people are a bit wary of thunder and lightning, aren't they?
Well, there's kind of 2 schools of thought. One, the worst possible thing you want to be next to in a thunderstorm is anything metal.
I'm with that 100%.
The other one is, theoretically, inside a metal box is the safest place you could be.
Theoretically.
Yes, theoretically.
Yeah.
But because we don't know, I think we've got to test this before we put anybody in to live there.
What do you mean test it, Jim?
Or we need an artificial lightning generator, like one of these.
So that's what it is?
Yes.
I just thought it was a son of a Dalek.
It's like a Dalek, only far more dangerous. Yeah. This thing can generate 1,000,000 volts, okay? So it gets it up, bangs 1,000,000 volts into the side of the container.
And you're going to go in there?
No, not necessarily me, but somebody's got to go in there and find out if they survive.
Paper, scissors, stone.
Okay.